Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another messy Facebook Live for practice owners. I am Ken Clark. I am the founder of semiprivatepractice.com, as well as a 200 plus person mental health group practice. Just taking a little time each morning to share some thoughts from you from the journey, help you hopefully make more sense and find some direction and footing in your own journey as a practice owner, whether it's a solo practice or a group practice or something in between. We are going through our core value statements for us as a practice. It's a thing we call the CFT way. Our practice is called Chenal Family Therapy. And it's 35 principles. I know it sounds like a lot, but 35 principles that are kind of core to who we are. When I say principles, they're really things that were sayings that over time just kind of codified and became kind of the guiding ethos of the land. So, for those of you that don't think you have culture, even as a practice of one person, much less more, you do have culture. We all have culture. It's how we operate on a regular basis. It's the things and the rituals and the conversations that we have the most, the sayings we fall back on. Whether or not you formalize those and put those on a piece of paper is another thing, but we all have culture. So these are ours. A lot of these were memorialized by our staff. They were things that were said back to us as a leadership team that they hear all the time. So we're going to go with number five, principle number five, which is check your ego at the door, or check the ego at the door. I'm going to read it a couple times. I'll unpack it and we'll cut you loose to go about your day. So here is principle number five from our core guiding principles of our fully accountable and fully embracing practice culture. Check the ego at the door. The most valuable you is when you choose to be part of us. Don't let your ego or your personal agenda get in the way of doing what's best for our community. Protect your place on the team by worrying twice as much about giving credit as getting credit. Let me read it one more time. Check the ego at the door. The most valuable you is when you choose to be part of us. Don't let your ego or your personal agenda get in the way of doing what's best for our community. Protect your place on the team by worrying twice as much about giving credit as getting credit. So our industry is a funny one, right? We are this industry that has master's degrees in emotional intelligence, for lack of a better way of thinking about it. But we're trained in this stuff. We're trained in introspection. We're trained in wrestling with our baggage. And yet, and I think a lot of you can attest to this, our industry is full of people who get their toes stepped on, who respond in a reactive way, often toxic way. They hide behind justifications. They get very much wrapped up in their pride, their position, what they've accomplished, what they've earned. For an industry that is very much about equality and justice, we those things quickly go out the window when we haven't gotten our due. It's very contradictory, and it's part of what I think has led to a lot of the unhealthy agencies and organizations, and even now group practices that we've seen, which is we say we're all about the people. We say that we are open to our blind spots, and when push comes to shove, we get our dander up and we start pushing back and being defensive, and we can't look at the things we need to look at. So, hence this core concept for our practice of check the ego at the door. I would love to say that this came from an altruistic place, that I'm this noble person who thinks it's very important to check the ego at the door. While I can mentally agree to that, the instinct in me to push back, to be defensive, to not let people be right about me being wrong, my ability to overcome that was one that was far more self-interested. I'm the guy who thinks that selfishness gets a bad rap. I think it actually can be harnessed to help you do the right things in this world. So one of the things I quickly became aware of, and I saw this as I was part of peer groups and things where other business owners sat in the same space and processed problems, is that their own fear, their own even terror at times that they are the imposter that they feel, that their staff will all run away and just leave them hanging, whatever. That fear led them to reactive behaviors that actually got in the way of them succeeding. not just like emotionally succeeding, but financially succeeding, right? Succeeding as an enterprise. That the fear itself became the foundation for unhealthy behavior. That became the reason that people began looking to work somewhere else, and it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. So check your ego at the door. While I can altruistically agree to that, really on my roughest days, on the hardest days of doing this, on my most human days, it comes from a place of pure greed, if I'm honest. And I don't mean greed in the sense that I want to step over people, just the opposite. That I've learned that my highest probability of success, financial, leadership, reputationally, all those things, becomes when I become the best at being the dumbest person in the room. I become the best at seeking out my own blind spots. And by the way, I'm not anywhere near perfect at this. This is a work in progress. Will be the rest of my life, like it is for most of you. But my biggest opportunities lie in me dropping my ego, dropping my need to be right, dropping my need for credit, for attribution, for whatever, and just doing the right thing for the most people possible. If you've never read books like Leaders Eat Last, things like that, this is in the similar vein of thought. What I've learned and what I teach, and what continues to seem to prove itself out in my own practice, is that when we become interested in the success of others, when we are liberal in our giving away of credit, when we find and elevate the admirable in other people and are happy to take a back seat and even get comfortable with our name never being mentioned. When we do that, we are a place that everybody wants to be. When we do that, we're a place where the brain, instead of living in a fear state, lives in a flow state, right? People can operate in these uninterrupted fashions, contribute at their highest level, innovate, dream. They themselves then turn and do these key behaviors of checking the ego with core customers, with key employees we can't leave. Like there's a wonderful trickle down effect, right? Instead of the downward spiral, it becomes the virtuous cycle. That checking my ego at the door has been a core behavior in creating space for other people to contribute to the success of my company, right? That when I am the most resistant to my name getting credit and I give that space to other people, then they get that positive reinforcement of doing and succeeding and being recognized. And then they want to do it more. And that all happens under the banner of my company, right? This even goes to how we handle departing clinicians, employees in our practice. We a long time ago ripped non-competes out of our culture. We leaned into what we call a red carpet exit. That we work very hard to have it not be an affront when people leave and go start their own thing, right? That's a place that ego gets bruised a lot in our industry. We look at it as a sign of our success, that we've created a place that was safe enough for people to dream for once, instead of just running around all day trying to not get fired. They can actually sit there and have a little space in their brain to wonder, what if I did this for myself, right? Instead of the ego being damaged, we see it actually as an ego stroke that people leave. Side note, if you've never read Super Bosses, Sidney Finkelstein, spectacular book, helped me through a lot of that heavy stuff around people leaving. Our success is built on other people's success. Our ability to look in the mirror and like what we see is fed by our willingness to hold up the mirror for them and tell them what wonderful things they are missing about ourselves. It comes from our willingness to go last, and we need to be the first to do that, right? Leader means you're at the front of the line. You go first, and I think there's nowhere that's more in particular or more important than dropping the ego, letting go of the credit you deserve, what fair is. It's not a letting go and doing without. It's a letting go and moving towards. That when we can do that, we can grab onto much bigger success. And we do it by taking genuine care of other people, taking a genuine hard look at ourselves, and merging those two things together. What do I need to see in me as part of taking better care of the people that have entrusted a chapter of their life to my business? So check the ego at the door. it trickles down to the bottom line. It makes for a better night of sleep. You will live longer. You will be less reactive. In the end, you will be remembered very differently than somebody who had to be right or at least make their case, etc. So there you go. I hope that's helpful to some of you. As always, if there's anything I need to hear in that, that's what the comments are for. Feel free to push back, add your own spin on it. My ego can handle it. If it can't, we're all in trouble. So, and be sure to check us out on semiprivatepractice.com. Check out our upcoming POW conference, POW conference.com, Practice Operations and Workflow Conference. If you're craving more community like this, please reach out to us about joining one of our 1F or 2F or Streamline communities for practice leadership that meets on a monthly basis, holds space for each other, solves each other's problems. We'd love to have you if you're hungry for something like that. Thanks a lot. Have a great week. Good luck. Go get them.